A Roman emperor once declared war on the ocean, not metaphorically, not poetically, literally. He ordered his soldiers to stab the waves and collect seashells as spoils of victory. It sounds like satire, but it happened. And it tells you something important. The Roman Empire was far stranger, darker, and more unpredictable than anything you were taught in school. When most people think of Rome, they imagine disciplined legions, marble temples, and a civilization built on logic and order. But beneath that polished image lies a world of bizarre laws, experimental technology, psychological warfare, and rulers who blurred the line between genius and madness. The truth is, Rome wasn't just powerful, it was deeply human, filled with contradictions that still echo today. So in the next few minutes, you're going to discover 7 shocking facts about the Roman Empire that rarely make it into textbooks. These aren't the usual stories about conquests and emperors. These are the details that make you stop and think. How did this society actually function? And more importantly, are we really that different? Let's start with something that sounds like modern infrastructure, but takes a disturbing turn. The Romans created something eerily similar to fast food chains. In cities like Pompeii, archaeologists have uncovered small street-side counters called thermopolia. These places served hot, ready-to-eat meals to people who didn't cook at home, which surprisingly was most urban Romans. You could walk up, order a bowl of lentils, stew, or wine mixed with spices, and be on your way within minutes. But here's the twist. Many of these meals were made from whatever was cheapest and available, sometimes including questionable cuts of meat. In fact, evidence suggests that some vendors reused leftovers in ways that would horrify modern health inspectors. Think of it as fast food without regulation. It's a reminder that convenience has always come with trade-offs, and that the grab-and-go culture we see today isn't as modern as it feels. Now imagine living in a society where even your clothing could be deadly. Roman fashion wasn't just about style, it could literally poison you. The elite loved vibrant colors, especially deep reds and purples, but achieving those colors often required toxic substances. One infamous example was cinnabar, a mercury-based pigment used in cosmetics and dyes. Prolonged exposure could lead to mercury poisoning, causing tremors, memory loss, and even death. So while Roman aristocrats were showing off their wealth, they were also slowly harming themselves in the process. It's not so different from modern trends that prioritize appearance over health. Beauty has always had a price. It's just that in Rome, the cost was sometimes fatal. And if you think modern politics is chaotic, Roman elections would make it look tame. In the late Republic, political campaigns were anything but subtle. Candidates would bribe voters, spread rumors, and even hire gangs to intimidate opponents. One surviving piece of advice from the time, written by Quintus Cicero to his brother Marcus, reads like a campaign strategy manual. It openly encourages flattery, manipulation, and making promises you don't necessarily intend to keep. Graffiti found in Pompeii shows citizens publicly endorsing candidates on walls, often with slogans that feel surprisingly modern. Vote for this man. He's a good guy, essentially. But behind the scenes, elections could turn violent. Street clashes between rival factions were common and sometimes deadly. It's a stark reminder that political theater isn't new. The tactics may have evolved, but the core strategies, persuasion, image, and influence, are as old as Rome itself. Now let's go back to that emperor who fought the ocean, because his story gets even stranger. Caligula, who ruled from 37 to 41 AD, is often remembered for his erratic behavior, but some of his actions go beyond eccentricity. During a campaign in northern Europe, instead of invading Britain as planned, he reportedly ordered his troops to line up along the shore and attack the sea. Afterward, they collected shells as trophies to present back in Rome. Historians still debate what this meant. Was it madness? A symbolic gesture? A misunderstood military exercise? Whatever the explanation, it highlights how absolute power could detach rulers from reality. When no one can question you, even the ocean becomes an enemy you can defeat. And that raises an uncomfortable question. How do we hold power accountable today? But Roman strangeness wasn't limited to emperors. Even their daily habits could be unsettling. Take their approach to hygiene. Public toilets in Rome were social spaces where people sat side by side without partitions. Instead of toilet paper, they used a sponge on a stick, shared among users and rinsed in a bucket of water or sometimes vinegar. It might sound primitive, but in many ways, Roman sanitation was advanced for its time. They had complex sewer systems and running water. Yet the communal aspect of hygiene feels almost unimaginable today. It shows how cultural norms shape what we consider normal. What seems shocking to us was just another part of daily life for them. And speaking of daily life, Roman entertainment could be far more psychological than physical. While gladiator fights are well known, there were also staged executions designed as theatrical performances. Criminals were sometimes forced to reenact scenes from mythology, except with a deadly twist. For example, a prisoner might play the role of Icarus, only to be thrown from a height to his death, mirroring the myth. These events blurred the line between storytelling and punishment, turning execution into spectacle. It wasn't just about violence, it was about narrative, symbolism, and control. In a way, it reflects our own fascination with dramatized reality, where entertainment and real-life consequences sometimes overlap in uncomfortable ways. And finally, let's talk about something that feels almost futuristic. The Romans had a form of central heating. It was called the hypocaust system, and it worked by circulating hot air beneath floors and through walls. Wealthy homes and bathhouses used this technology to maintain comfortable indoor temperatures, even in colder months. But here's what makes it surprising. This wasn't a niche invention. It was relatively widespread in urban areas, particularly in bath complexes. Walking into a Roman bathhouse, you could experience heated floors, steam rooms, and temperature-controlled environments, something that wouldn't become common again in Europe for over 1,000 years. It challenges the idea that technological progress is always linear. Sometimes civilizations discover advanced solutions and then lose them, only to rediscover them centuries later. So what's the most mind-blowing takeaway from all of this? The Roman Empire wasn't just a foundation of Western civilization. It was a mirror, a reflection of human behavior in all its brilliance and absurdity. They built incredible systems, yet made baffling choices. They advanced technology, yet embraced dangerous trends. They created order, yet thrived on chaos. And maybe that's the most shocking fact of all. When you strip away the togas and temples, Rome doesn't feel that distant. It feels familiar. So here's something to think about. If future generations look back at us the way we look at Rome, what would they find shocking? What everyday habits of ours would seem bizarre, risky, or even absurd? Let me know in the comments which facts surprised you the most, and what you think we're getting wrong today that history might judge tomorrow. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the stranger side of history, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more stories that challenge what you thought you knew. Because sometimes the past isn't just about what happened, it's about what it reveals about us.